Right. Write the spec. It's now time to start writing your product requirements document. Your product spec is pretty much the blueprint of what your project is going to do. So it's important that you clearly communicate what the needs and wants of your users are and what the vision of your product is. The better and with more clarity that you can capture these ideas and have them in one place, the more effective you will be in communicating this to your team and for your team to be able to grasp and get on board as you go on to evolve this product. A well-written PRD will continue to serve as your guide or as your foundation throughout your development process. It can help you make decisions about not just features, but about timelines, budget, and even personnel. Obviously, the first part of your PRD is defining your audience, who your users are, and how they will be using your product. It's important to articulate this and go beyond just your exercise because you need your entire team to also understand. And by entire team, I mean your engineering, your UX design, your marketing, your sales, your anybody else that's part of your ecosystem needs to get on the same plane as you are and who you're building for. Now, through the previous exercises, you should have already arrived at that crisp definition of who your user is, their persona. You want to go into more specifics over here when you write down the PRD about their goals, their motivations, the crisp pain points, and what they value the most. KPIs are a part of this as well because your design team and your engineering team will be able to understand why you're recommending the features you are because of the metrics you want to move. Part of your PRD also includes, the flows. That is, how will a user interact with your product? It's important as a founder, as the product manager, to put that definition in place, not to determine that you should be doing the work of a UX designer or the work of an engineer, right? But it is important for folks to understand how your discovery translates into a more tangible expression of what your product needs to do and behave. Once you've gone through this exercise in your mind, really start writing this down in a crisp format and tend to follow that format throughout the life cycle of your product building journey because it'll orient your team to also be able to consume information in the same manner. Now, while many large companies have moved away from writing lengthy PRDs and nobody really wants to read lengthy documents, know that a PRD is a living, breathing document, right? And while we do not necessarily think about all the different components a PRD needs to have, here are some fundamental things that are valuable for you to convey your vision and your learnings to your broader team. So a well-written PRD at minimum should be able to convey, number one, exactly who your users are. Define that audience. Number two, what problem are you trying to solve? Number three, a clear definition of your goals as a business. Number four, the scope of this project. Like I said, you cannot go do everything, but defining exactly what the scope of this project is will be crucial. Number five is the features and functionality this project is going to go on to accomplish. Now, each of these features or functions can go on to have their own sub-PRDs, if you may, or feature specs, if you may. And I tend to do that for every little feature that we build. But broadly, you want to make sure that this large PRD has an articulation of every feature that you're looking to build out. And lastly, but very importantly, you may want to have a section about sort of limitations. You cannot solve every problem. I cannot iterate this enough. So it's important to know that on your first iteration or even whichever iteration you're on, there's always going to be things that are outside the scope. And know and guide your team into articulating those and graceful ways to handle situations that your product does not handle today. Again, to reiterate, a PRD is a living, breathing document that functions as the blueprint of what you are going to be building as a team. The more time and effort you invest in writing a well-written, thoughtful PRD, the better your team will be able to consume that information and bring it to life. And know that as you evolve the product and as you add more and more features, these need to be added into the PRD. So anyone coming into the team has a full view of what is and isn't in existence today.